Warning, unpopular notion ahead. Cold outreach is just a marketing function executed by sales. Good morning, everybody. Ruby and I are talking about the abject reliance that salespeople have on cold outreach in their work. I've gotten more than one DM from sales leaders who are curious about why am I hating on cold outreach so much. And bottom line is there's an over-reliance on it, especially when our outputs and our outcomes, it's really a marketing outcome. When we talk about 1% conversion, it's a marketing criteria. It's not a sales criteria. So the numbers game shifts very quickly from being, hey, this is an amazing sales tool that we have, to being, you know what? No. It's just a different way of advertising. You are just trying to go out and hit the market as broadly as you can with the widest net you can. Maybe you're targeted, maybe you're not. But you have high expectations of that activity, when on the other side of that activity is someone who is less than enthused by the channel with which you have chosen, which is, oh, I love cold emails. Oh, I love getting cold calls. It's amazing. Yeah. Okay, sure. That's your 1 in 1,000. There's your marketing data. So I think it's just reframing the discussion. Cold outreach, I'll call it what I think it is, which is a necessary evil for a lot of salespeople, a lot of sales teams. That is what it is. But reframing it as a marketing activity executed by sales changes the conversation a little bit. Because if we're going to run a Google ad, or we're going to run a Facebook ad, or whatever we're going to do, our expectations in terms of conversion to the next stage of whatever, based upon that activity, it's fairly low-ish, depending on how good we are at it, to be quite honest. But the numbers aren't, we send 1,000 impressions of an ad, we're going to get 1,000 deals. Like, nobody in the marketing space lives in that false sense of reality. So when it comes to sales and selling, if we're going to use cold outreach, cold email, cold call, whatever, however that cold transaction begins, if we bring a marketing lens to it, I think differently. My expectations shift as a rep. My pressure as a rep changes, because I know it's a marketing function executed by me as a rep. If I send 100,000 cold emails, if I get 100 outreach, if I'm good at it. So again, this is a very important point. Spamming is not good. Let's not do that. That's terrible. Terrible outcome for everybody. And lots and lots and lots of governments around the world are trying to stamp that out. So let's start the conversation there. So if it is purely related cold outreach, somebody that you really think is a high value prospect who doesn't know you, and you're going to do that cold outreach, I said this many times, it better be the best darn email I'm going to get for a month. So you need to craft that very well. So that's one piece. Second piece is, if we go into this numbers game model, but we're not over-reliant on the outcome. Because in marketing, if you're over-reliant on the outcome, you will do short-term thinking, short-term stuff. We don't want to do that. We're trying to build, it's sales, it's not marketing. We're trying to build relationship. We're trying to do things differently. So in this context, it's a marketing function executed by sales. Let's set ourselves up for success. Let's add a heck of a ton of value with that cold outreach. Let's not phone that in at all, for one. And there are ways to do that. There are tools out there to help reps do that. But for two, let's make sure that whatever we're doing in terms of that outreach has a direct data correlation for the business. So is it the typical 3% conversion rate that you might see in a marketing landscape? Sure. Do we know that? And if we get really good at that, and we don't try to scale it too much and too fast, and it is about building conversation, well, gosh, maybe our 3% becomes 10%. And hey, I'll take 1 in 10. That sounds great. It's the laziness. It's the lack of formal process. It's the, I'm just going to spam the hell out of these people. And when I get a hook, I'm going to just call them and call them and call them and call them until either something good or bad happens or that we just give up. And so any of those outcomes is poor. So now it's about how do we change that conversation. So for today, cold outreach, you got to do it. Great. Make it a marketing function executed by sales. It'll change your way of looking at everything. All right. Have a good one. Walking and Talking with Ruby.